On today's episode of i-Dentity, young architect Jonna Bennett is in the i-Dentity coffee shop. We hit the bike trail and take a tour around Kliptown. What's APPenning features the review of the Seek app. We also review a multi-faith website to help you on your spiritual journey. And the Soweto String Quartet wraps up the show for us.
I am an individual with an imagination. My inner faith illuminates innovations. In a space with infinite inspiration, I was born free from all incarceration. Incredible, living infallibly, intelligent, outshine with my inner being. This is me, impeccable as ever been. I am you, you are me. This is my identity.
It's that time of the day where you get to relax and enjoy 30 minutes of this spiritual buffet that we call i-Dentity. I'm your host Mpumi Mbethe, and thank you for joining me. On the 27th of April 1994, South Africa held its first democratic elections. This was a milestone in the country's history as it marked the end of apartheid and the beginning of a new era. Njengemuntfu lomusha waseNingizimu Afrika, ngiyetfulela sigqoko kubo bonke labanikela ngetimpilo tabo ukuze mine ngikhone kumalanga embi kwakho lomuhla ngibungata inkululeko yeminyaka lengemashumi lamabili. What does 20 years of democracy mean to you? Let us know by tweeting us or posting on our Facebook wall using the hashtag 20 years of democracy. Now, let's meet our guest for today. How many times have you looked at a building and marveled at how much work has gone into it? Well, my guest today is a young man who decided to go beyond the marveling and into the actual designing. Jonna Bennett is an architect by profession, having obtained a master's in architecture from the University of Pretoria. He is also the co-founder of One-to-One Agency of Engagement, a non-profit architecturally based organization that facilitates design solutions in the country's developing urban areas. And to top that off, he also worked with an NGO that falls under the Shack Dwellers International South African Alliance. Uma ngingafunza mlandvo walo leli jaha kungathatha lesiqephu sonke so kungcono sithi vele ngaye. Jonna, welcome to i-Dentity.
Thank you.
Jonna, I want you to take me back to your childhood. People grow up wanting to be doctors, lawyers, be on TV, and you decide, I want to be an architectural designer.
Yeah, I don't think there was any bright spark moment or any I want to be a designer. I think I'd always enjoyed drawing. I always enjoyed putting things together, problem solving. These are things that I did my own time. And when it came time to choose a career, these were the things that fitted an architectural portfolio. So I chose architecture.
Were you fascinated by buildings when you were driving around?
I think when we think architecture, buildings are just one output. Actually, architecture is also about understanding space, about interpreting space, about looking at things and finding other ways to make a certain experience or a certain thing happen. And sometimes it's a building. And I think that's what interested me, was about kind of thinking about space and then acting in it.
And you've traveled quite a bit during your studies, from Pretoria to Durban, then you went to Canada and then back to Cape Town. Take me through that journey.
Well, I think growing up in Durban for 21 years, I mean, it sort of shapes you in a way. It makes you a certain type of person in this country. And then moving to Cape Town sort of tore that apart, because you're exposed to a whole different set of factors in Cape Town, but also the international scene in Cape Town is really big. And I think that actually was something that hit me a lot, was how connected we are to the rest of the world. And then to study, I had to come to Gauteng, and Pretoria University has a great program, so I came here. And bizarrely enough, I ended up in Johannesburg. And as a Durban guy, that's the last place I thought I would ever end up. But
with the weather.
Yeah, no, but it's a great place. There's something about Johannesburg. It's got this energy and the spirit that just brought me here. I don't know. I just found myself here one day.
But you traveled to very distinct cities. How has that influenced your work?
Well, I think, growing up in Durban, it's got this massive influence of the Indian, the colonial, the Zulu, and close to Mozambique, the other sort of South African countries. But Cape Town sort of is hanging on to this older type of architecture and its way of being of space. So I think those very distinct things shaped my ideas. And then being in Johannesburg, where everything goes, just completely blew that apart as well. So I don't know, I think it gave me a nice broad perspective of what space is like in South Africa. And I quite like that all these different influences have made me the designer I am today.
And how does spirituality influence your space?
Well, when we say that, I mean, I think about spirituality as people. I think about the spirit of people and how they come together and how they act together. And that's always guided actually my interest and my work. And in every place that I've lived in, that's something that I've always tried to understand and be a part of in my own way. And especially in Johannesburg with, I mean, it's the biggest population. There's 18 million people in Gauteng. It's so much more here. And I think maybe that's why Johannesburg brought me in, just because of the spirit of people, the spirit of connection that actually happens in Gauteng.
Let's talk about one-to-one agency of engagement. I mean, as if architecture on its own is not challenging enough, hard work and so competitive, you bring in a humanitarian aspect to it. Tell me about that.
Well, my first presentation in my master's dissertation, they told me, John, what are you doing? This isn't architecture, this is social science. But I think what makes good architecture is bringing in other influences and bringing in other ways to think about space, other ways to solve problems. And I feel that as architects, we've come to a point where we're a bit stuck. We're stuck in our profession, we're stuck in our way of thinking. And the only way that we can address some of the country's biggest problems, specifically in the housing sector, is if we undo some of that. So in a way, we hardly ever refer to ourselves as architects. We talk about spatial design, we talk about urban interventions, and even the name one-to-one agency of engagement has no architecture in it, because we want to come in as people first, and then as people who have some skill to add to a discussion to solve a problem.
But charity work has no financial rewards, Jono. So what do you get out of your humanitarian work?
I mean, the first thing, I think we don't call our work charity. We talk about a non-profit entity, and there's a lot of talk now about social enterprise and social entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So to do the type of work that we try to do, even if we started a normal company, this is a brand new field. This is a completely different way of doing architecture. So to provide a social service, it makes it easier to engage in the space for us as well, because you're not worried about our bottom line. We're not worried about having to satisfy very specific clients or funders. So coming in as a non-profit and a social enterprise, it gives us more space to find the right problems and find the right solutions to the right problems. So I think that's how we define our work. It's a social enterprise.
Jono, you and I are the same age, but your CV is this long. What do you attribute some of your success to?
I mean, I don't think I've reached any success points yet. I think we're just starting off in this whole thing. We've only just sort of formed one-to-one. It's been 2 or 3 years now. And we're only now kind of getting a grasp on what it needs to be. So no, I wouldn't say what I wouldn't call these success points, but I just think, how can I say this? I think at some point in my life I realized that I wanted to do something more than just be a person in a space. And I wanted to understand things. I wanted to look at things better. And I had these questions that I wanted to answer. And actually moving from Durban to Cape Town was that move, and going there and realizing that I also have a place to play in this country. I also have a role to affect and not just be a passive citizen. And I think that question is, first of all, what's going on here? What is actually happening? Because everything that I learned and been taught growing up was kind of completely blown apart through my travels and through my exposure. And I wanted to know that. I wanted to ask what's actually happening. And once I started to answer that question, I wanted to know then what can I do to be a part of it and to make it better? And I think those two questions have been sort of driving me since my early 20s.
Speaking of your early 20s, we are celebrating 20 years of democracy in our country. So what does that mean to you?
I think, for me personally, I think it's an interesting milestone for us to sit back and reflect on what's actually happened in terms of addressing the past. And the biggest legacy of the past that we're dealing with in my discipline are the spatial inequalities, the fact that we still have these split cities and these split environments. And I'm interested in this milestone to reflect on what have we done with what we've done so far, and how can we change that, and how can we make people who are working in these spaces better to affect that change towards a more spatially equal South Africa.
Jonah, I want to have you back because we need to talk about this. But before I let you go, I want to play a quick game with you. It's called True or False. Try and answer as quickly as possible, as accurately as possible. Freedom Day is on the 1st of May.
Isn't it the 16th?
27th of the May. Thabo Mbeki became the president of South Africa in 1999.
Was it 98? 99.
Yeah,
True.
True or false, Jono? True or false? The Freedom Charter was signed in Kliptown.
True.
The first heart transplant was done in South Africa.
True.
Table Mountain is the 9th wonder of the world.
It's arguable, but I'm going to go with true.
7th. Since the 1940s, South African golfers have won more golf majors than any other nation apart from the United States.
False.
True.
Well,
South Africa has the most official languages in the world.
True.
The national bird of South Africa is the blue crane.
True.
Gerard Moerdijk was the first South African to be an associate of the Royal Institute of British Architects.
True.
I thought if you get this one wrong. And singer Miriam Makeba was the first South African to win a Grammy Award.
True.
Well done. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jono, for coming, and
Thank you.
we wish you all the best in everything that you do.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
I foresee a bright future for Jono, and I'm confident that the future of the country's architectural landscape is in good hands with people who are passionate and dedicated like him. When we come back, we hit the cycle track and learn more about Kliptown and its residents with our Encounters presenter Zimina Kelly. Remember to keep the conversation going by telling us what 20 years of democracy means to you on Facebook and on Twitter. The hashtag is 20 years of democracy. Siyabuya.
This is my identity. This is my identity.
You're watching Mzansi's favorite multi-faith youth show, i-Dentity, right here on SABC 1. Thank you for staying tuned. Kulena ngcenye elihlelo lwethu siniketa wena litfuba kusimema esigodini sangakini lapho usicocela khona indzaba yakho uphinze kube nguwe loyiholako. Today we meet a man whose work has filled voids in many lives by offering a helping hand to the youth of Soweto's oldest district, Kliptown. Our Encounters presenter for today is Zimina Kelly, who is a tour guide and a project facilitator at the Soweto Kliptown Youth Foundation. He invited us to join him to learn more about Kliptown's heritage and how the community is being uplifted by the individuals that inhabit it. As we celebrate 20 years of democracy, this is Zimi's story.
This is my identity.
Good morning, i-Dentity viewers. My name is Zimina Kelly, a member of Soweto Kliptown Youth Foundation. Today we're going to be looking at the successful stories of Soweto Kliptown Youth members, and those stories, they range from a variety of lifestyles. Now let's find out about those who were part and who are still part of Soweto Kliptown Youth. Follow me. With me is Ntokozo Dube. TK is known by the word, and he's the founder of TK Detours and a former member of Soweto Kliptown Youth. Ntokozo, what is TK Detours?
TK Detours awuthami na Grand Sharp uthilo ya okantokozo yabona okay owe Kliptown ud owe development and through our thoughts it's how we can develop our own community.
What inspired the formation of TK Detours?
Shazi from mangikhula ngintwana ngeke ngahlangana nenye artist ayibiza no Bob Nameng, you know, the guy ebe run i-organization abayibiza iSoweto Kliptown Youth. I believe if mongaso Bob Nameng maybe bengizoba semajele or nami abuse ama drugs, but the guy uye wa install something in me, and in return kwavela iTK na Detours.
What should we expect from the bicycle tour of Kliptown?
Well, it's about Ubuntu mfethu, you know, community is welcoming. The kids are welcoming. It's a lifetime experience, and it's an experience only we told anywhere else until you came.
Fun, I'm very excited for this experience. I'll see you in a tour and see what it is like. With me now is the great visionary, the founder of Soweto Kliptown Youth, Bob Nameng. How are you, Bob Nameng?
Good, thanks. How are you doing, sir?
Doing so great. What is it like for you to groom these youngsters and seeing their success? What you feel on the inside, and what is it that you can share to the world with your experience?
One of the things I've learned from my great icon, Bob Marley, is this, a rich man can't save his brother's soul. So therefore, I think everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves to be capacitated. And the more I see people becoming successful and independent and taking the pride of their culture and identity, it heals me so much, because that's the legacy I want to leave behind.
There is the Almighty that had played a significant role with your life. What role you see as the Almighty had played with you?
Whom Jah bless, no man cares, so said the word. And I think for me, without spiritual father, I don't think everything would be possible, because God has played a role in my life. He has inspired me in many ways. So for me, my life without spiritual life, it's incomplete.
More support more than Chinese. So all the way here, people who are into business are women, we can still proceed.
Now joining me is Melissa Mpumi, who had been here with Soweto Kliptown Youth Foundation for many years. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you.
I would like to find out, Melissa, when and why did you join Sky?
I was only 9 years old when I joined Sky, and I joined because I saw a lot of kids coming here, so I followed.
Why do you feel that young people need to be mentored?
Because when young people are mentored, they live a positive lifestyle. As a young child, having a person that you're looking up to, it grooms you to a better person, because obviously those mentors experience some other things that they're going to come back and give them to you, and obviously you're going to become a better person through those people.
Wow! This man is magic!
The next person I'm going to introduce is Mambusi, an important woman to this organization, Soweto Kliptown Youth Center. Mambusi, kunjani? Ngiyaphila. I would like to find out, Mambusi, what role do you play la ekhaya?
Like a role which I'm playing is, I've got a project of feed the children. Seeing that I've seen a lot of kids in Kliptown roaming around, I've seen that could make things easy for those who are not employed. This is my 12th year doing this same job.
How was your experience in these 12 years?
I've gained a lot with this by motivating the kids that they can't learn with empty stomach. There should be something in the stomach so that they could concentrate to what they are doing.
Mother Teresa said, if you want to start something good and you ask the world out there that, do you think this can work? And people say, no, it won't work. She says, do it anyway. We're surrounded by inspiration. Therefore, I make sure that I make the best use of the inspirations. God has given us a spiritual eye. Start seeing things with spiritual eyes. Then that's when you realize that we are gifted.
Leli bekuyithuba elihle lokuthola a cycling tour yase Kliptown. Sahlangana ne Soweto Kliptown Youth. Nestori ska Bob Nameng, an inspirational story. I hope you had been inspired as I am been inspired. Now this is time to say goodbye. Back to the studios, back to Mpumi.
Sibonge kakhulu kuZimi nakeni ngekusichumanisa neSoweto Kliptown Youth Foundation. Siyabashayela lihlombe ngemsebenzi lomuhle labawendwako ngekuthuthukisa ebantfu labasha base Kliptown. Uma ngabe ukhuthatekile ngendzaba yazimini, sithumele email ku identitytvshow@gmail.com. Join me after the break for this week's media reviews. Today we are reviewing an app that will keep you edutained with some Sikh general knowledge, as well as a website that is a source of multi-faith spiritual information. In the meantime, keep the conversation going by telling us what 20 years of democracy means to you. Hit us up on Twitter or Facebook. The hashtag is 20 years of democracy. See you in a moment.
This is my identity. This is my identity.
Welcome back to Identity with me, Mpumi Mbethe. We kicked off the show with an inspirational chat with architect and humanitarian John O'Bennett. We also took a short lift to Kliptown, where we learned more about the Soweto Kliptown Youth Foundation and met some of the young people who are benefiting from this amazing initiative. Now let's jump straight into our What's Happening segment. Our first review is an app especially for our Sikh viewers. But if you're from another faith, you can also be enlightened. It's called SuperSant. The SuperSant app is a Sikh-based quiz that teaches you about Sikh history and Gurmat teachings. The objective is to answer 15 consecutive multiple-choice questions to reach the status of SuperSant. Answer a question by choosing one of 4 options. The game confirms whether you have answered correctly, and if not, the correct answer is provided. Get one question wrong and you have to start from the beginning. The game also tracks player statistics such as the total number of questions answered, total correct and total time taken. Upload your fastest time onto Facebook and compare your SuperSant skills with those of friends and family. Download the SuperSant app, test your Sikh knowledge and work your way up to becoming a SuperSant today. i-Dentity is all about celebrating unity in diversity. That's why our next review is a multi-faith website called belief.net. www.beliefnet.com is a website that provides information about different faiths with the aim of helping people find and walk a spiritual path that brings clarity, hope, and strength. If you are looking for encouragement and inspiration or are curious about other faiths and religions, then this website is the perfect tool for you. It offers pages dedicated to each major world religion, such as Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, or Islam, and gives you access to devotionals from some of the best spiritual teachers and clergy. With topics ranging from spirituality, health, family, news, and entertainment, this website also helps to facilitate a thought-provoking interfaith dialogue by offering a forum that lets you connect with people outside of your faith. For those who are looking for a religion more attuned with their beliefs, the website provides a feature called Belief-O-Matic for guidance, support, and encouragement to help you along on your spiritual path. Visit www.beliefnet.com and be inspired. It's been a jam-packed 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and pure awesomeness. But unfortunately, that's all we had in store for you today. Let's make a date for next week at 11 a.m. right here on SABC 1. Let us know what you think of the show by sending an email to identitytvshow@gmail.com. You can also hook up with us on social media. All you have to do is search for i-Dentity TV Show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We absolutely enjoy reading your comments and appreciate your feedback. Facebook, now good Twitter. Let us know what 20 years of democracy means to you. The hashtag is 20 years of democracy. Siphuma ngengoma yemaSoweto string quartet lethi Timbuktu. Libe neliviki leligcwele tibusiso dodwa.